Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Celente, and it's Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. And here are some of today's trends in the news. And remember, the trend is your friend. And we're your friends when we give you the trends. So, what's going on? Well, the big news, of course, yesterday was how much is the Federal Reserve going to raise interest rates? And they raised them, they didn't. Powell sees rate hikes as more moderate pace. The Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, said, that was last week, of course, but now they said what they did, was likely to raise interest rates in the coming months, but more slowly than previously. Given how far we've come, it may make sense to move rates higher, but to do so at a more moderate pace. And then the Fed head at the Chicago Reserve Bank said, quote, "We are in a weird, foggy environment where it is hard to figure out where the road is." And that's this guy, Goolsbee, Austin Goolsbee. Yep. I think he was a former Obama guy. So it's a guessing game. So they raised them last week. They held them last week, but this was when Powell had to talk to Congress. So this is how they write in the Wall Street Journal. The Fed fights inflation by slowing the economy through raising rates, which causes tighter financial conditions, such as higher borrowing costs, lower stock prices, and a stronger dollar. Got it? The higher the rates go, the stronger the dollar gets. As I have forecast, when they start lowering interest rates, it's the beginning of the death of the dollar. It's on its way. They may raise interest rates another 25 basis points 2 more times. There you got it. In God we don't trust. But they're going to lower them in the run-up to the presidential reality show. They do it all the time. And then they go on to say over here in the Wall Street Journal, they saw that higher funding costs for many other banks risks causing a credit crunch, particularly if banks face future losses from defaults on commercial mortgages backed by properties such as office buildings, whose values have tumbled recently. No shit. They're afraid to keep raising rates because this office building bust is real. We're the first ones to talk about it 3 years ago. We forecast in the Trends Journal it would happen, and now it's happening. So, again, the slowdown has begun. It's summertime, and they know that, this is a time when people spend more. They're more relaxed. They're going to go out more. They know it's going to artificially juice the economy for a while. And again, they're going to start, they may raise them another 25 basis points 2 more times, 50 basis points total. But in the run up to the election, down they come and up go gold prices, because gold prices are going down now because the dollar is so strong. End of story. We said this was happening. And by the way, the S&P 500, what did we say? Back in November, we said, no, the markets aren't going to go down. Following the last 40 midterm elections over 60 years, the S&P 500 has gone up 16.3% on average. And guess what? Now it's up 14%. So there's another side of the story. There's a downside coming. FedEx sales slide 10% as demand falls. UK recession fears mount after Bank of England hikes borrowing rates by more than expected. Today, they raised them 50 basis points. They raised them 50 basis points to a 15-year high at 5%. But yesterday, the inflation number came out. You know what inflation is in the UK, or the FUCK? because you got a bunch of little fucking pricks running the show? The scumbags that caused this problem with the lockdowns, the COVID war, and the sanctions they put on Russia? $8.7%. Okay, so now you got interest rates at 5%. You got negative interest rates. Oh, now you're worried about a recession? Fuck off. Send more money to Ukraine. Hey, Sudak. Hey, suck ass. Why don't you keep going to Ukraine? Oh, no. You know what suck ass Sudak said? Suck ass Sudak. Suck ass Sudak. You suck the ass of Zelensky as you're fucking over your people. Yep. He said, don't worry about it. I'm here to tell you I am totally 100% on it. And it's going to be okay. And we're going to get through this. He told workers at a warehouse. Oh, did you get dressed up like a warehouse guy? Like you go over there, Ukraine, and you put your military drag on? Oh, by the way, I get upset. You're fucking right, I get upset. I'm a fighter. I'm not a little faggot that don't fight. I'm not a little boy that takes shit from anybody. I don't give it and I don't take it. But there's another side of Celente. And you can see it on this channel. Yes, the other side of Celente video. I surround myself with beauty. I take care of all the plants in here, over 200. I got almost 50 tomato plants in my garden where I held a rally. About 30 pepper plants, lettuce, oregano, thyme, basil, lavender. You know, I create beauty around me. But I know what's going on in the world. And we got a bunch of fucking evil pricks. And I can't say the other word. I love this shit. If only women were in charge, we wouldn't have any war. Oh, yeah, like Hillary Clinton, when she was so happy when she heard Gaddafi was killed. We came. We saw he died. You came? I don't think you ever came, man. When I talk about a dried out chick. Oh, I mean dried out in terms of life and leisure. Oh, and how about Condoleezza Rice, the next, mushroom cloud you see, and that craphead you got over there in Germany that keeps calling for more war? That one over there, one after another. They're warmongers. The craphead with in NATO, or the EU rather, all warmongers. Nobody's talking about peace. I had a peace rally here like nope, nothing in America. Zero coverage. And they hate me for having peace rallies. So anyway, going on to the economic news. Turkey's central bank hikes rates at 15% in dramatic U-turn. It's not a my turn, is it a U-turn? Oh, no, a U-turn. Oh, I understand now. They only raised it 650 basis points. They were guessing on the street that they were going to double that to 1,500 basis points. But again, Erdogan won the election, and now he doesn't care if the economy slows down. He had the low interest rates to keep boosting the economy. So the whole thing is going down. The higher interest rates go, the more the economy goes down. S&P 500 stocks outpace foreign rivals. S&P 500 is at 14%. Yeah, again, go back to November. We said it was going to keep rising. IMF working on global bank digital currency platform. No shit. Go back to your Trends Journal. March of 2020. From dirty cash to digital trash. You got it? They want to know every penny you spent because these fucking politicians want to steal all your money in the name of taxes. The Russians hacked our banking system. Something like that. And we're going to go digital. Again, you know how we feel about politicians. Don't forget to get your T-shirt. Tell the world how you feel. Hey, politicians, who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? And you got the back of the shirt. Yep. Hey, politicians. Little shitheads. How could people take orders from little shitheads? How low can you go? Anyway, here's a big story in the Wall Street Journal. Silicon Valley faces office surplus. No fucking shit, man. Blow me away. We only warned about this 3 years ago. An office building bust, and the geek freaks were the first ones that told everybody to go home. Yep. The office building's first week in June, the return rate in San Jose, 39%. Yep, it's only down 60% from before COVID. And it goes on and on. Office occupancy vacancy rate in San Francisco is between 25 to 30%, depending on those numbers you're looking at. 30% in LA, 20% in New York City. Vacant. Yeah, Wall Street sours on America's downtowns. No shit. That's why you read the Trends Journal. We're giving you history before it happens. One issue after another. What I'm reading to you is old news, but it's new news for the mainstream news. We're giving you what nobody else gives you. Nobody gives trends analysis and trend forecasts of socioeconomic and geopolitical trends. And here's another one we're giving you. Here are a couple of articles just from the last 2 days. SoftBank CEO said chats with a bot sold him on AI. Architects are turning to AI to help reimagine office spaces. How to make AI your personal shopper. Snap AI could aid advertisements. Google launches AI tool for banks. AI lifts Adobe above deal cloud. Okay. Those are your comments, by the way, people, how much they love the magazine. So, what they're guessing on the street is that the AI is the next .com bust. Wrong. This is not the .com time. Because you go back to your Trends Journal when it was a quarterly magazine, 8 pages. They call it a newsletter back then. Now it's averaging 160 pages, no ads. And if you don't want to read it, you can listen to it. We have an audio version. And you could print out a PDF. So going back to 1999, .com this. The .com overload will short circuit many high expectations for huge profits in internet commerce, entertainment, and a wide variety of .com services. Following the holiday season, many of today's high-flying internet stocks, the hottest IPOs, and newly emerging IPO wannabes will have begun their deep descent from their overvalued heights. But we said it would happen by the second quarter of 2000. Nobody else did. Nobody. This is different. The Y2K crap, people were making up shit. This is different. AI is real. Love it, hate it, it's here. And AI, we own you. Yep. Repeat what we tell you. We own your mind. This is real. There's not going to be a .com bust. Are some of these companies that are way overvalued going to go down? Yeah, of course, some of them are. But it's just going to keep growing. It's just going to keep growing. And that's going to be very positive for the equity markets. Bitcoin Bonanza is on tap if BlackRock ETF gets okay. This is big. And you see what Bitcoin is now. It's in the $30,000 range. And if this, the world's largest asset manager could be a lifeline to crypto and spark a windfall of some traders. betting BlackRock's filing for exchange traded Bitcoin. I mean, the bigs are taking over everything. Okay, what else we got here? On to the Ukraine war. Zelensky, if Ukraine loses, U.S. must choose between the collapse of NATO or going to war. How about go fuck yourself? Who the fuck are you to tell what America should do? And NATO, I don't give a fuck about NATO either. We have no need for NATO. And the same fucking bullshit. If the Russians take Ukraine, they're going to attack the rest of Europe. Fuck you. No, they're not. The same bullshit they saw with the Vietnam War. And again, why did Russia attack? Again, totally against it. If you read the Trends Journal going back to 2014, totally understand why they did it. I mean, just the bullshit here. Speaking of, Zelensky said American politicians in 2024 presidential campaign were skeptical about providing more aid to equip Ukraine in its war against Russia. Quote, is he ready to go to war, to fight for his kids? Are they ready to die? Zelensky said, because anyway, they'll have to do this if NATO gets involved. That's un-American. And who's this fucking guy that plays the piano play with his dick to tell us what to do? A comedian that became, this is how fucked up things are. And again, going back to the UK, you had that fucking shithead Boris Johnson, the little prick that closed down the country while he's partying. The damage that's done by the COVID war, the Russian sanctions, you wonder why they're raising interest rates, recession's happening and the economies are going down. There's a recession in Europe. Again, it's going to ease out during the travel season this summer. It always does. If Ukraine would lose, if Russia would occupy Ukraine, Russia will continue going toward Baltic countries, Poland, etc. They will start war with one of the NATO countries, and at this moment, the United States will have to choose the collapse of NATO or go to war. Bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. And that's all they repeat it. The scumbag fucking bastards and bitches of the media put no one else on other than the propaganda that they're selling. War whores on parade. There they are. Here we go. Kyiv lost no terrain amid counteroffensive launched recently to reclaim territories occupied by Russia since its invasion, Zelensky says. Well, if Zelensky said, then God knows it's only the truth, because we only believe Zelensky. He could play the piano with his penis. We have lost no positions, only liberated ones. They liberated a couple of yards. And about them losing positions, this is going to be a huge counteroffensive where they were going to defeat Russia. So don't, as we said, don't count on the counteroffensive. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Malaya said the biggest blow is yet to come. Oh, she's going to blow somebody. Oh, no, the biggest blow. I don't know what she's blowing about. Okay. There you go. President Zelensky said that the country's forces were, quote, actively destroying the enemy, physically cleansing Ukraine. Defense against terror means destroying terrorists, and is a guarantee that the state of evil will never have the opportunity to bring evil to Ukraine. And Russia says U.S. and UK fully dragged into conflict if Crimea is bombed. The use of these missiles given by the United States and the UK, the Russia's defense minister said, outside the zone of our special military operation would mean the United States and Britain would be fully dragged into the conflict. So that's what they're doing. You hear Zelensky pumping it, and now the Russians are saying, we're going to go to war with you if you keep ramping this up and attacking us in Russia. World War III's begun, and if we don't stop it, it's going to be nuclear annihilation. Putin says new nuclear missiles ready to deploy soon. Isn't that great? Meanwhile, as I said, the UK is going down the crapper. Oh, I know the other one. If only a woman was in charge. That Ursula von der Leyen, the EU Commission president, another war hawk. She said that the European Union will provide Ukraine with $54.5 billion. Well, I say make it $54.6 billion. Isn't that nice? Countries are going broke. People are going broke. And more to ramp up the war. Blinken announces $1.3 billion for Ukraine's reconstruction efforts. Isn't that great? You little shithead. Every fucking day they got this fucking scumbag here. How could people listen to this little fucking prick if he has one? One jerk after another. There he is. I can't say anything bad about Lloyd Austin because the word is that if you come out against Miley or Austin, they're going to come after you. So this Blinken bullshit says that President Joseph Biden's top diplomat, Diplo in the mat, will provide $675 million to help modernize Ukraine's rail lines. Oh, yeah? As our rail lines are shit in this country, going on the subways at night in Calcutta? What bullshit. Anyway, going back to the war, Ukraine troops understand they don't have a chance against Russian forces, says Putin. This is very important. Russia is fighting a war. They know what they're doing and how they're doing it. If war breaks out, Russia is far advanced in taking military action than any other country. And no one's speaking about that. As Germany, this is from the toilet paper record, the New York Times yesterday. As German worries about future far-right party surges, and they quote this woman, "What's wrong? Where do I start? She feels unsafe with migration. She's very uncomfortable with Germany providing weapons to Ukraine." Yep. Migration. Ukrainians are flooding into Europe, as are the Syrians, as they have been, because of the wars brought. Europe's losing their nationalities. All these refugees coming in for wars and everything else going on. And they're saying enough of the weapons. Which means that a peace candidate could win. And then we've got a lot more here, but I'm just going to sum up with this one. Israeli settlers launch West Bank attacks. They're not settlers, they're invaders. That's a bullshit word. They're not settlers, they're invaders. Hundreds of Israeli settlers set fires to Palestinian cars and houses in the occupied West Bank. Not occupied, stolen land against the Geneva Conventions. Maybe I'll get censored from YouTube for saying that, and they'll call me an anti-Semite. I can't talk bad about, anything else, America's wars and the other. If you say anything bad about Israel. Again, we're giving you what nobody else has given you in our breakdowns of the information, the geopolitics, the economics, trends in the global economic front, Ukraine war trend updates, whole separate section on AI. Joe Duran's technocracy section you can't touch anywhere in the world. Trends in the COVID war, trends in geopolitics. We have guest articles by Dr. Joseph Mercola, John Whitehead, runs up on the presidential reality show, trends in cryptos, on and on and on. So we're telling you what's going on in the world and how we're giving it to you. They're not doing this. So here's the language that they have. They said a group between 200 and 300 settlers had entered the town and set fire to 25 to 30 cars and 40 to 45 houses. Again, they're not settlers, they're invaders. And could you imagine if they did this in Israel? They set fire to 30 cars or 40 houses. Here, the latest cycle of violence in the West Bank, which Palestinians seek is the heart of the future state of Israel, is occupied since 1967. Not occupied, invaded. Israeli forces killed 7 Palestinians and injured more than 90 in a raid in the West Bank. Yep. And here's the language they use. The violence has led to demands from hardliners in Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu's government, for the army to take more aggressive approach to militant groups in the West Bank. We need to return to targeted killing from the air, bringing down buildings, setting up roadblocks, expelling terrorists, and to finish passing the death penalty for terrorists legislation, Netanyahu said. Yep. You're a terrorist. If you have invaders coming into your country and you fight against them, you're a militant and you're a terrorist. It was the same bullshit when Americans were in Afghanistan and Iraq. The people fighting them were terrorists and militants, not citizens of the state. Now I'm going to close up with one thing. Pre-high school learning slide worsens. The long-term assessments were administered in October through December 2022 to 13-year-olds and 8th graders and 7th graders, blah, blah, blah. They provided a crucial measure of pandemic learning loss for U.S. teens. Not a pandemic learning loss, a government-imposed draconian loss. This was not a pandemic. 99.91% of the people are still alive. I mention what's going on because the damage done by the COVID war is incalculable, and we've calculated it. It's all part of your Trends Journal. So thanks for tuning in. And don't forget, watch the Celente and the Judge one yesterday that we put up. It's one you're not going to want to miss. And again, my candidate for vice president is Judge Andrew Napolitano, and I'm still betting on RFK Jr. that minus a wild card, he'll be the president in 2024. Thanks for tuning in.
At the Trends Journal, the best investment you could make, because it's the best investment into your mind and it can change how you look at the world.
Less than $3 per week for almost 200 pages, ad-free, great articles. The world's foremost trends forecaster, Gerald Celente.
The Trends Journal is one of the greatest sources of information, and it really is. You're predicting these things well ahead of time. I would encourage everyone to go grab the latest copy.
But Trends Journal subscriber for 20 years. I just have to commend you. What you guys have put together in your latest Trends Journal, there's nothing like this out there.
Sir, everything that you predicted about the economy, you were absolutely right. So I have followed you all this time. So please take a look at the Trends Journal.
You correctly forecast that the Fed would hike rates quite aggressively, correctly said that initially gold and silver would drop as the Fed starts to raise rates to 1.5% and above. When we spoke last, Bitcoin was around 49,000. You said you expect to drop, and if it drops below 30, 35, then it could really drop.
Trends Journal, which I would encourage people to go and check out. It's actually a 200-page document, pure data-driven analysis.
Gerald Celente, the top trends forecaster in the world. Gerald, you had an interesting call back in September of last year. You said gold had bottomed, which is exactly what happened. And here we are, and we're above $1,900.
Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happened at trendsjournal.com.